and we are live with Jerry Cortez
Hey.
from Tower of Power and the Grateful Dead.
Well, not the Grateful Dead, a band, an offshoot of the Grateful Dead called
Almost.
Go Ahead. Yeah, It had half the Grateful Dead. It had Bill Kreutzmann, the original drummer, and Brent Midland, singer and keyboard player, and then Bob Weir joined our ranks as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Towards the end there, and we had a lot of fun with Bob.
Oh,
And
awesome.
Bob's songs were a lot of fun to do, and it was really a great vehicle for Brent Midland to showcase some of his songs that he couldn't bring to the table with the Grateful Dead, you know.
Yeah.
So and same for Bob.
Yeah.
Songs that the Grateful Dead were not as interested in doing or never got around to doing, that sort of thing, you know. So we got to do some of those.
Tell me that, what was that Bob Weir story you were telling me? Bob at the supermarket?
Oh yeah,
I need to go to the
I ran into
supermarket.
actually at an office supply store, and my wife and I just happened to bump into him. We went to go stand in line at a queue, and he had actually turned around as soon as I walked up to him because he saw someone that was right behind me. Turned around and he goes, "Jerry," I said, "Hi, Bob." I said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I was going to ask the same question." But anyway, we had a nice chat, you know, and then. But before we parted ways, he wrote his phone number down. He goes, "Call me sometime." He gave his number.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I love those
Yeah.
guys. And we
Yeah,
have
very
Panda
good
with
guys.
you as well today.
Yeah, Panda, boy.
She's very active, as you can see.
You see her tail in
She
here
is,
anyway.
in fact, alive if you're watching and have your doubts. Now, as I was walking in today, Jerry, I had my headphones on listening to Soul Side of Town.
Nice.
It's pretty killer.
Thank you.
The first track... Oh, no, she's off. All right. Panda, you want to come over here?
Come on, Panda.
Come up here. Quick, come on. Quick. Let's go. Okay,
Making
sit
the
down.
video.
The first track reminded me of one of my all-time favourite albums, Back to Oakland.
Yeah.
Is that so? Who's doing the songwriting on that? Are you all songwriting, or is it one?
Yeah,
person?
it's mostly Emilio and Doc, as it has been over the years.
Yeah.
But Rogers contributed to some of the tracks, and I co-wrote a song with Emilio called "Stop."
Yeah.
Rogers even singing a lead vocal on the album that's coming out soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's singing a lead vocal on a song that Rocco wrote with the keyboard player from Spyro Gyra. I forgot his name. Sorry. And that's a fun tune, actually. And then collectively, we did get together when we were doing Basics.
Yeah.
And we recorded. We kind of just like let's write something from scratch, like right now. What are we thinking? Where our heads at right now? You know. And so the rhythm section and got credits for like the song that opens up, East Bay.
Oh yeah, East
Bay song. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's credited for everyone.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's credited for like the rhythm section.
That's fantastic.
And then there's another one that we put together that's on this album called After Hours. It's an instrumental.
Okay.
Yeah. And then hats off to Dave Eskridge, who is the horn arranger for Tower of Power. He did a fantastic job. Made me think of that song because After Hours is a big horn feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when everybody does a little bit of soloing, but it's mainly features Tom Politzer, the lead tenor player, and Ray Green, who was the lead singer and trombonist at the time.
Okay.
I didn't mention that. The lead singer, that Ray Green, who's now with Santana, also plays really nice trombone. And when he was in the band, he augmented our already fat horn section with his trombone. And I love trombone. It's like one of my favorite instruments.
And you said now he's gone to Santana?
Yeah, he's in Santana, yeah.
That happens to me all the time.
And Santana actually gives him a lot of room to play well. In fact, I joked with him last time I saw him. He came to one of our shows in Boston because that's where he lives. And I said, "Man, I love the show, man. You were great with Santana. I love how much freedom he gave you with playing trombone because he was kind of just running around stage. He was wireless, you know, and playing a lot of bone fills and solos and stuff." And I said, but as a casual listener, you know, who might not have ever seen Santana live or anything like that, I probably would have thought to myself, "What's with the trombone?" So we had a big laugh, like, "Oh, you come about."
Really made that song.
Yeah.
I love Santana's Woodstock stories. I always find them hilarious.
Dropping acid and all that stuff and going out on
the
stage.
The guitar was a snake.
Dangerous.
I had to tame the snake. Yeah, crazy. Now, you were using quite a few different instruments on the latest record.
Yeah.
And I loved your solo extended solo over the title track.
Oh, thank you. Soul Side of Town. Yeah.
And so
thank you.
That sounded like
that
a
was
Strat
Mimi's
to me,
idea.
but you said it was a PRS.
Yeah, it's a PRS. It was called it was a short-lived guitar that they were introducing this pickup called a 5310.
Yes.
And so 53 was supposed to be like an early humbucking sound. 53, of course, humbuckings didn't exist in 1953.
Yes.
But it's kind of their take on a low output humbucking kind of sound, and it was introduced in 2010, and it was almost like one of his, I forgot what they call them, not custom shop, but they have like their special custom shop guitars, and it was of that ilk. It was a really really nice top and everything. And
so was that one of your guitars, or
yeah,
was
it was my guitar.
Oh, right.
It was my guitar. Yeah, and a beautiful guitar, and had a great sound. So I'm using that guitar, like the front pickup of that guitar with the split coils. And at the time, I came into the band playing Paul Reed Smith guitars because I thought they'd be a perfect combination with their coil tapping, because they do a good coil tapping thing.
Yes.
So a great combination of like a Telecaster and a Les Paul.
Yes.
Because when I think of the guitar sound, I think of in Tower Power, I think of the original guitar player named Willie Fulton. He was the first recorded guitar player. The very first guitar player was a guy named Jody Lopez. But the first guy to record with the band was a guy named Willie Fulton. He's on the first two albums, and he played a Tele. And when he was in the band, there was no keyboard player.
Oh, right.
So he was the chordal structure.
So is that a Tele on back to Oakland? Where does that sit?
No, that's a Les Paul.
That's a Les Paul. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, gold top, a mahogany top Les Paul. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's Bruce Conti, the great Bruce Conti playing guitar on that. So that's that sound I hear in my head, like the Tele and the Les Paul.
Yes.
And later on, Bruce played a Strat on a number of songs, and then another guitar player made quite a splash and dent in the band. I think was a guy named Carmen Grillo who played a Strat.
Yes.
He played Strat sounds, and great player. Really great player.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Yesterday you came in and played Squib Cakes.
No, that was What Is Hip.
Oh, that was What Is Hip.
What Is Hip? Yeah.
Sorry, I wrote that up as script.
It's all right.
Would you be able to play that again for me?
Yeah.
And I'll see, we're live. I'll have a look at who's joined us.
So I always loved the intro guitar part that Bruce plays. It's just so iconic. When I first got in the band, I remember, I think I was telling you this yesterday, that not my audition, but my first rehearsal with the band, I played something in the intro that was very Bruce Conti-esque, not exactly like it, but very much like what he would play. And we got done with the song, and he goes, "Hey, on the intro solo stuff, you don't have to play it like Bruce. I want to hear what I want to hear you do you," which I thought is a beautiful thing, and he's still like that to this day with all of us. Emilio doesn't micromanage us and tell us how to play this or that, but just really great. So it's very open, I'm open to play whatever I want. So, but the thing I did leave. He starts a song with, and that's just really reels you in, And I still play that, and then I take it from other places. But this is I believe what he played. He does something like that. Then he goes into this just great rhythm stuff, with a, total James Brown rhythm stuff, And he goes back into it. Anyway,
killer.
but,
Is that just is that like an E9 chord you're playing there?
Yeah.
Right. It's a straight note. Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, I love the rhythm, the little bits you're doing with that E9 chord.
Yeah. But you know, you think of songs like "Papa's Got a Brand New Bag" by James Brown.
Oh. What's that top chord you're playing there?
This one here, this is an E9 too, just another voicing of it.
Ah, right. That's great. I love that.
But you get the third down there in the bass.
Yeah.
And that's the voicing that the horns are doing. They're
yes.
Going,
you have great control between the bass and the treble of your guitar. It's like so precise.
Oh, thank you. Well, you know, a lot of muting and stuff like that, you know, with my left hand.
Yeah. I love those upstrokes on the high E string there. That's fantastic.
Oh yeah, not just upstroke, you know, up.
Yeah. That's killer.
Fun
if you're watching from home and you want to come in for a lesson for lead playing, everyone always comes in, I want to learn the solo.
Yeah.
Forget that. You should be doing that.
Rhythm playing. Yeah, it's important stuff. It's important stuff.
Absolutely.
Always good to shred, but it's always good to know how to back up on somebody who's singing or playing the solo, whatever, you know.
If you're watching and you've got a question for Jerry, shoot them in. I'll just have a look at who's on. We've got Neil Boland is definitely on. Spyro, Gyra, G'day Neil. And I like some comments there. We've got Neil, we've got Patrick Geraghty, and Neil. I think Neil's obsessed with you, Jerry. He'll be waiting. He'll be waiting in the alley outside later.
Great.
So, Jerry, how did you get into guitar playing?
Well, I saw the Beatles and Ed Sullivan.
Yes.
First appearance on TV, and just knew that. And George Harrison was the guy that really stood out for me, because he really, to me, really stood out as the guitar player. You know, come to find out, Paul's no slouch, and neither's John on guitar.
Oh, yeah,
you know, they both could play really, really well, and surprising some of the great solos on Beatle records were actually Paul, like Taxman. You know, that's such a great guitar solo.
I was going to, when you see that "Let It Be" video, and you can see, I think that George and Paul were arguing or something. And Paul's saying, "You have to do it this
George,
way.
I'll do anything as long as it pleases you."
Yeah.
I've seen that. That's pretty amazing.
But I, when I hear the solos on the "Let It Be" album, I always think, was George forced to play that, or it's him playing it? But
yeah, sure.
But anyway,
but he does do. He was always so tasteful, you know. Especially his solo, like on "Something."
I love that solo.
And then of course the three of them on the song "The End," you know, where they're all trading off. You know? And so I didn't know that as a kid, you know. I didn't find that out that was all three of them, you know. But you know, that did sound like John Lennon playing, because I did get to, because he had such that casino, you know. He had such a big woofy kind of sound to his playing. He likes
double stops a lot.
Yeah, double stops a lot, and really aggressive. Super aggressive.
Yeah, I love John.
Yeah. Can't do that. It's a great guitar solo, John Lennon guitar solo.
Oh yeah. I love that. The early stuff's amazing. So,
it's amazing.
And so you saw them on Ed Sullivan. And
you
went to your parents, I have to have a guitar.
Yeah. Well, they knew I wanted a guitar, so I as a child growing up, I remember standing in front of the mirror and mimicking the Beatles. You know, like playing air guitar, you know, and it's like, we got to get this kid a guitar. So they finally got me a guitar, and then my dad saw how serious I was, and a couple years after that, he gave me his '57 Les Paul Jr.
Wow.
Which I still own to this day.
Yes,
which is a great guitar.
It's
it's a great guitar. And so
how long before you got into bands and that sort of thing?
Well, it seemed like we were just with neighborhood kids. We were kind of plunking around, you know. Even my brother had. He didn't even have a drum set yet. He had sticks and he had a drum pad. And we had another neighborhood kid who had a guitar, and then his brother wanted to play drums, but there weren't any drums, so he banged around on Coke bottles. I mean, that's just how primitive it got, you know. So starting there in the garage, you know, and then growing up, and we're able to afford amps and guitars and things like that, electric guitars, and so it wasn't probably until I was like in high school I really started like playing in bands at school, getting together with other kids that played, you know.
And you got some lessons?
Yeah, I got some lessons, just a few lessons as a kid, mostly self-taught as a child growing up.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it wasn't until my early 20s that I took lessons from a really great guitar player that I grew up hearing, because he played with my dad a lot. His name was DJ Serralo, really wonderful guy, man, and a really tasteful jazz player. And then shortly thereafter, I took lessons from Tuck Andrus.
Oh wow! Amazing.
From Tuck and Patty, who's a phenomenal musician, man. Just really incredible.
So this is all based in San Francisco.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, he lived in Palo Alto.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember he had such a. I think what I learned most from him was his groove sense. You know, just how well he just by himself, man. He just grooved like a big dog. You know, just like you would feel other instruments around him, like percussion and bass. You know, because he could play bass and guitar at the same time. That was one of his strengths. You know, he could do that really well. But on top of that, he had a really deep pocket, man, and really rubbed off on me. Yeah. That's probably the thing that rubbed off on me the most was his sense of time, and which is interesting because I think I was telling you this yesterday that he didn't think he had good time at all. He was always like, oh man, I gotta work on my time. You know, it's like, what? So, but anyway, but that's I think that's what I came away from. Yeah. And
how long did you study with him for?
It's for a year.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's great.
It was really great. I learned a lot from him. So, and then just just being in bands. You know, I played in bands with my brother. Touring the country, playing in top 40 bands, you could do that. You know, right out of high school, I did that, and then eventually got in a band playing originals, and you could do that in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, for a while. There was a lot of clubs that wanted you to play your own music. They didn't want to hear top 40 bands.
That's good.
Yeah, and there were times we
not really like that.
Yeah, I know it's not. Every once in a while, there'd be a current song that would come up, and we were like that caught our ear, and it's like, hey, let's do that song. That sounds like a fun song to do. You know, just add it to our set, and we'd learn it. We'd be having a blast with it, and people going, hey, stop playing that crap, man. We want to hear you guys. We came to hear your stuff. So it was really interesting. It was a really, really great time in the '70s to be in a band and make a living at it. It was wonderful because people supported the music, and we didn't have any albums out on it. They couldn't hear us on the radio, but they would come in and they would be singing along to our tunes. They would know the words and everything.
That's great.
Yeah, it is great. It was really a great time.
So how did you end up? I'm trying to get to Tower of Power, but you mentioned earlier, and you were telling me yesterday, you were in a Grateful Dead spin-off band. Grateful Dead Santana spin-off band. Tell me about that.
That was in the 80s, and I got turned on to that probably through a drummer who actually wasn't in that band, but he was the one who kind of opened that door. His name was David Perper, and he played with Jesse Colin Young and Pablo Cruz. And he got me involved with Jesse Colin Young, who's a singer-songwriter. Come on, people now, smile on your brother.
All right.
Everybody get together.
That's
Try to love one another right now. And that was really a lot of fun. So I played in probably the last incarnation of the Youngbloods, and then they kind of went this way, you know. And then he started a band called the Jesse Colin Young Band, and then he didn't want to do that anymore, and he just wanted to play acoustic music. So he was trying to be step up to the 80s plate, you know, kind of do the 80s thing, you know, and it just wasn't working for him. He wanted to do his roots, which is acoustic music, you know. And so I went along with that, and we ended up doing 3 records together. But we used to tour the country, just the two of us, singing and playing. So through that contact, I met a bass player named Dave Margan, who is friends with the Grateful Dead. Yeah. And he asked if I'd be interested in doing something with Brent and Billy initially.
That's cool.
Yeah. So and we even had a video. It's on YouTube. Right. It's called the song is called Nobodies.
Okay.
And so I said, if you search Nobodies and Go Ahead, it'll come up. Yeah.
And you mentioned Jerry Garcia.
Jerry Garcia was a fan. Yeah, he was. Well, we rehearsed at Front Street, which was in San Rafael, California, and Marin County. And Jerry, well, everybody would show up. Yeah. Mickey would show up, Phil would show up, but Jerry seemed to be the guy that showed up the most. Right. He would just come and just hang and listen to us rehearse. You know,
nice guy.
Yeah, very, very nice guy. He was very quick-witted, and Yeah, great conversationalist, very friendly, and loved to chat, you know. And he loved the band. So we rehearsed at Front Street, where they have all their recording set up. Their semis are parked. It's a big warehouse.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So
we had
they own that building or something, do they?
They must.
Yeah. They were making some money back then.
Yeah, they definitely were making some money. So but it was fun. It was really fun.
And then you find yourself in Tower of Power. So how did
that fast forward. Well,
tell me about the audition as well.
Sure. Well, right about that. Well, a little bit after that, I met Mick Gillette, who is the original lead trumpet player and trombone player, and he asked if I'd play on a CD. He heard me on some recordings that I'd recorded on at this particular studio, and he was recording there. And the engineer turned him on, like, "Hey, you should get Jerry on the CD." And so that was kind of like my first intro to somebody in the band. Well, besides Bruce, because I took lessons from Bruce in the '70s, Bruce Conti, and but Mick was not in the band at the time. In fact, but after I recorded on his CD, I actually called Emilio and said, "Hey, you should get this guy who's on my CD. I think he'd be perfect for Tower of Power." Wow, and Emilio's answer was, "Well, we don't know him," and I didn't know him. I didn't know him. But by then I'd known Mick and Bruce. That was about it. But then fast forward, I started playing some gigs with David Garibaldi and sessions with Tom Politzer, who I've known now for over 30 years, the lead tenor player now, and Roger Smith, keyboard player. We'd done some sessions together as well. So
were you doing a lot of session work around that sort of time?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, I was in the Bay Area.
That kind of died off a bit, that whole session thing now, or?
You know, I don't know. I'm not in the Bay Area anymore, and I live in Salt Lake City now, and I've been called for a few sessions since I've been there. But you know, once people hear that you're not available, the phone stops ringing. You know? So for that kind of stuff, it could tend to be like that. It's like, oh, he's on the road. A million days a year, you know.
How much? How much are you on the road?
About 200 days a year.
Whoa.
That's included. We do about 125 dates a year.
Wow.
And then we're gone for about 200 days.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And how have you found playing in Australia?
Oh, I love it. I love it here. People are so great. They really welcomed us here. It's
thank you.
And the crowds have been wonderful. Really great. Really friendly and really receptive. So it's been great.
Your stalker #1 fan, I mean Neil Boland, was taking photos at the Croxton gig, and it looked jam-packed.
Yeah, it was, and that was a great show. We had a great crowd there.
Oh, that's fantastic. Really and you're using the Helix?
I'm using a Line 6 Helix, yeah.
How long have you been doing that sort of thing
Since May of last year.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm loving it. And, you know, because I went from playing a twin, tilted back, probably on 3, which is pretty loud, you know. And then an assortment of different pedals, you know. Not a lot of stuff, but a few things. And then I had plexiglass in front of it.
Right.
And then earplugs, just so I can kind of get away from it a little bit and I can hear it fine, you know. And then I had a wedge. But then I just kind of went cold turkey. I went in-ears and Helix the same day.
Yeah. You like it?
Yeah. And I had some custom-made earplugs, in-ears, monitors rather, and then the Helix. And I liked it immediately.
Yeah.
I really did. It's like, wow, this is great. And so what's nice about it is I have a consistency of sound right here every night.
Yes.
You know.
Is the bass player doing something similar?
No, he's using an amp and a cabinet, but he does use in-ears.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I think you mentioned yesterday he said he was having trouble hearing you with the.
Sometimes he does.
Right.
Sometimes he does. Yeah.
But not so much now.
But yeah, he hears me. I think he hears me better now that he's got me in his ears. Yeah. But that's tough, you know, when you have a, bass amp going and no guitar, you know, at all.
Yes.
There's nothing on stage, you know. I thought about getting a powered cabinet just to maybe for the people right in front, so if they have any issues because sometimes you don't get behind the PA, you don't hear it.
Yes.
You know, if you're parallel with it, it's going to go right past you.
Are you doing? So I know you've got a solo record.
I do.
Are you doing some smaller shows back in the US?
No, I'm not. I just haven't made time for any of that.
Yeah.
I recorded my last CD in Nashville, and this one as well. And some of the musicians that were there, it's like, hey, so when you come into town again? I said March. You know, I said March 10th. I can't remember the date, but it was something March. And this was back in like October or something like that. I go, when are you coming to town again? He goes, well, your entire band's right here. Why don't we open up for Tower of Power? And I went, that might be a good idea. But it was a good thing I did.
Keep it in the family.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I did think about it. But then just didn't happen. So, but it was a good thing because the guy who actually mentioned that actually had a death in his family and had to actually go to California that day. So he would have been the first guy who had to sub out. So there's issues like that that I kind of don't want to have to deal with, know, especially when this is kind of like my focal point, being in Tower Power. I need to concentrate on doing that.
Do you have some favorite songs you like to play rhythm for or
in
lead?
Tower?
And,
Oh gosh, everything.
Everything's great.
Everything is really, really a lot of fun, There's one song that we actually stopped doing for a little bit, but it's just a fun groove. It's what is the name of this song? You're the Most. Yeah, it's called You're the Most. It's off of I think it's off of Urban Renewal. And it's just like a Stax Volt thing. Just a great groove. Then and it just goes on like that for forever. And then at some point it goes to just like the 1 and the 4 chord, and there's like a B3 solo. It's just
Our battery is just about done on the camera.
Well, we should go then.
I will give you the customary handshake.
Yeah, thank
you so much. I've already taken up enough of your time.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure.
But if you would like to purchase or listen to Tower of Power's latest album, you can find it everywhere, Soul Side of Town. And what's your?
It's called From the Ground Up.
From the Ground Up.
And I'm working on another one right now in Nashville.
Yes.
Yeah, almost done. Hopefully it'll be out later this year or beginning of next year sometime.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
You're so
thank
nice.
you again, Anthony.
And,
thanks for having me.
You can find this on Facebook and YouTube.
Yay.
YouTube, I'll probably chop that little bit out where I dive into the tech. But thanks so much for coming in, and all the best.
Thanks again, Anthony, for having me.
And
It's a
thanks
pleasure.
for watching, guys. Sorry if we...